Okay, can you see my screen, class? Okay. So for today's lecture, no, um, the reason why I did that activity first for nomenclature because it will be really helpful for you come to this part of the subject, no, which is about types of chemical reactions. Because if you will not, or if you do not know how to write nor how to name a chemical compound, you will really have a hard time in translating chemical equations or chemical reactions, particularly if word problem siya. No? So that's why you need to really master your um, skills in nomenclature. No? Okay. So to start with, what can you observe from the images below? And what are their similarities? Okay. Anyone who wants to share their ideas? No? So based on the picture here, you have three photos of different with different I don't know activities or different phenomenon that occurs here. So what can you say about them? And can you spot on their similarities? Yes. Who raised their hand?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, for me lang, Sir Ake, I believe
Mm.
it's about for the first picture is I believe it's wood being fried in fire
Fighting
and
fire
then
or burn, no?
burned. And then the next is I think it's soldering iron, sir. Tama ba, sir?
Sige lang.
Uh,
It's a metal that was
it's a
being burned.
okay. It's a
Mm.
metal being burned, and then the third is a two pic like more like a contrast of rusting iron and new iron, a new
Oh,
chain. I mean, and
okay.
then I think their similarities are okay. All of them are being transformed into. I think I being all of them are like nag-change og sir ba appearance sir since the wood if dili pa siya sunog sir kay kompleto pa siya solid then if na-burn na siya kay na siya black something na siya
So
suit if
yes, so therefore it undergo what type of change?
chemical change sir.
Okay, very good. No? So thank you, Gemar. So as you can see here, now burning of wood is an example of chemical change. Diba? So you have a different property when it is a wood. Then once you burn it, its chemical property changes. Now on the second picture, we have here a magnesium ribbon that is burned in the presence of air to produce a magnesium oxide. Okay, so therefore from magnesium it changed into magnesium oxide. Now here we have chains no, that are being compared. We have a new chains here and we have a rusted chain. So unchained that is normally composed of iron, no? Once it undergoes rusting, it will become ferric oxide, no, or an oxide of iron. So all of this is a characteristic or shows chemical change. Okay, so therefore, in a chemical change, what happens? So your reactants, okay, for example, the wood itself, no, once it undergoes a chemical change, it will no longer be a wood. Similar with magnesium ribbon, once your magnesium ribbon undergoes chemical change, it will not be a magnesium ribbon na. It will become a magnesium oxide. Okay? So these are all examples of chemical reactions. So therefore, whenever you see a matter, no, that undergoes chemical change, there is always a chemical reaction that occurs. No? So always not siya partner. So what are the different principles, no? Or before we proceed to the principles, so this is what I have meant earlier. For example, if you're going to have a contrast with physical change and chemical change, so for water, for example, if you boil a water, you do not change the chemical property of your water. It's still H2O. However, you only change the phase or state of matter. So from water, once it boils, it will become a steam. No? So they are still H2O but in different phases. However, if we will have methane, which is an organic gas, and then you burn it in the presence of oxygen, no, so methane plus oxygen, if you burn this hydrocarbon, you will form water molecule and carbon dioxide. So this is what a chemical change is, no. So the chemical formula of the reactants and the products are always different. So chemical reactions are governed by two principles. So first, the law of mass conservation that states in any change, whenever you have a chemical reaction, the mass of the final product would always be equal of the mass of the starting material. Okay, so that's why we cannot have a 100% yield in a laboratory. So if you have a 100% laboratory yield for a synthesis, so there's probably a contaminant there, no, nasagol sa imong product. Okay? So again, whatever reactant that you have, it should be always equal to the product. And the second principle states that in any change, the number of atoms of each element remains constant. So for example, if your reactant contains two hydrogen atom, so it should be that the product should also have two hydrogens, no? So that is what you call balancing, no? Dapat number of atoms in the reactant should be equal with the number of atoms in the product side. Now, to best express or to best study chemical reactions, chemists have found a way, on how we can express chemical reactions effectively. And this is what we call chemical equations. Okay, so chemical equations are often written in as a symbolic representation for chemical reactions. Okay, so this is a basic part of a chemical equation. So basically, your chemical equation has two parts, no? So one part on the left side of the arrow, okay, that is the reactant side, no? Always nasa sa left. And then on the right side, pointing, no, after the arrowhead, this is the product side of your equation. Now, what is found in your equations? No? So you have the chemical formula for your reactants. You have the subscripts. No? So the subscript is due to the chemical formulas. No? The chemical formulae of your compound. So it doesn't change. However, The value here, no, the number or any value here that is beside your chemical formula is what you call your coefficient. No? So coefficient are numbers that designates how much of that reactant or how much of that product is formed. So for example, here in the reaction of magnesium and oxygen, when you burn magnesium in a flame, no? So this implies that you need two molecules of magnesium plus one molecule of oxygen gas to yield 2 moles of magnesium oxide. No? So take a look. The formulas of the reactant is different from the product that you have formed. No? But the number of the atoms are identical. So for example, here in the reactant side, you have 2 magnesium. In the product side, you have also 2 magnesium because these two here, you will distribute it to each of the atoms. Okay? So these two doesn't only mean na si magnesium na siya kay siya man ang tapad. No. So whenever you have a coefficient, that means that you will account for the whole compound itself. So this two is distributed to both Mg and to oxygen. Okay? Now on the reactant side, you can see that the oxygen, it has of a subscript 2. No? However, here in the product side, you don't have the subscript of your oxygen is just 1. However, since you have the coefficient of oxygen is 1. Sorry class, nag-run out ka diyo. Isa. Ah, Okay, sorry for that interruption. Hindi kalit mag-off ang ano, kuryente. Okay. So again, as you can see here, now for oxygen in the reactant, it has a subscript of 2, but in the product side, ang iyang subscript ay 1 na lang. However, because of the coefficient, you still have 2 oxygen atoms here in your molecule, no, in your reactant. So meaning, the number of oxygen atom in the reactant side and on the product side are equal. So this particular chemical equation is also what you call a balanced reaction or a balanced equation. So how to read this chemical equation? No? So it means that 2 moles of magnesium reacts with 1 mole of oxygen gas, O2, and yields 2 moles or 2 molecules of magnesium oxide. Okay, so always the reaction goes from reactant to products. And if you're going to higher chemistry, no, so this type of arrow, this arrow that you can see here, we have a lot of different arrows used in a chemical reaction. You can also have a double-headed arrow that signifies a equilibrium reactions. So meaning your reactions could be reversible. So your products can be a reactant, and then your reactant could be a product. So double-headed arrow. So you have another arrow here, no? So you have one arrow going to the from product to reactant side, no? It look like this. Ano siya? This is a reversible reactions. Then sometimes, for example here, ano siya, unequal ang length sa arrows. So this indicates that although this is a reversible, but the forward reaction, no, kini siya, the forward reaction meaning the reaction from the reactants going to the product side is more favorable compared to this one, which is a shorter, no. So we have arrows like that. Okay, so coefficients in chemical reaction. So for example, in this compound called sodium sulfide, no, this one, sodium sulfide, it requires two atoms of sodium and 1 atom of sulfur, no, to be created. Okay, so this coefficient here, because we cannot write Na2, no, because when you say Na2, so meaning that sodium, those 2 sodium ions are bonded together, but that is not true because you cannot do that with sodium, no. So instead of writing Na sub 2, you need to write it as a coefficient para mabalance siya, no. So therefore, to make one formula unit of sodium sulfide, we need to start with 2 sodium atoms, and we show this by writing the numerical coefficient 2 before the symbol for sodium. And again, you do not write it as Na2 because this signifies that you have a charged species na bonded sa sodium. But if you do that alone lang, Na2 plus sodium, so that is incorrect because your sodium here only bears positive 1 charge man. No? So you cannot have this particular formula. Okay, so whenever for metals siya ha. So for metals, whenever you have to write it as this Na2 sulfate, for example, so these 2 here of your sodium comes from the charge of your sulfate ion, no? So this is a chemical formula. But in writing the chemical equation, no, and then it is a monoatomic element lang, for example, sodium, so you do not write it as 2 sa equation. Dire na ka sa product side, no? Kaya name na siyang Na2S because these 2 here means that your sulfide ion has negative 2 charge. But all in all, if you will account for this, you still have 2 moles of sodium and 2 moles of sodium in the product and reactant side. Okay? So example, the elements magnesium and chlorine react to form magnesium chloride. Which of the following is a correct representation of this reaction? Is it 1 or 2? So what do you think is the correct representation for the reaction? Reaction 1 or reaction 2? Okay, Angelo answered reaction 1. How about others? Chrisley answered 1. Kitch answered 2. Isabella answered 1. Isa answered 1. Lord answered 1. Okay, majority of you answered 1. Okay, but let's take a look, no? So we have magnesium. So since magnesium is a metal, so stand-alone siya, no? Magnesium. Plus, we have here chlorine to react to form magnesium chloride. So take note that for, di ba, for chlorine, bromine, iodine, and oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen, in their elemental states, they do not occur as a monoatomic atom, but rather they exist as diatomic atoms, no? So kana siya. So therefore, the correct representation for this formula for this reaction is Mg plus Cl2 to yield magnesium chloride. Okay? So always remember that whenever you have these elements here, they always exist as diatomic atoms, no? Diatomic sila. Okay? Now, all of the atoms in our reactants are accounted for in the products. Now, we always bookkeep them in a manner that the atom in the reactant side should coincide with the number of atoms in the product side. So, for example here, no, sodium plus sulfur will yield sodium sulfide. This type of reaction is not considered correct simply because the number, no, of the atoms are not equal or not balanced. So here we can see that in the reactant side, the number of your sodium atom is only 1, whereas in the product side, you have 2 sodium atom. So how would you balance this chemical reaction? So you do balance it by adding an appropriate coefficient. Okay? So whenever we do a balancing of chemical equations or chemical reactions, you do the balancing by changing the coefficient. Okay? So you do not change the subscripts, ayaw na siya hilabta because that is the chemical formula. We do not change the chemical formula. Okay? So, for example, if you write it as Na2, that is incorrect because again, you do not have sodium 2 Na2 na molecule, no? You cannot have a diatomic sodium. But if you will write it beside the sodium, no, like that, your coefficient. So that refers to you have 2 moles of sodium plus sulfur that yields to 1 mole of sodium sulfide. Okay, so again, you do balancing by changing the coefficients of your reactants or your products. Okay, let's take an example. Another example is the following chemical equation balanced? If not, I'll explain why. Sige, mata-mata ha. Is it balanced or not balanced? Okay, Angelo, what's your answer? Is it balanced or not balanced?
I think the chemical equation is balanced, sir, because in the reactants, we can see that CO has a coefficient of 2, which means there are 2 carbons on the reactant side.
Okay.
And saka na lang sa 2CO, sir, kinanay 2 daan ka oxygen. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Sa other nga reactant pa jud, there, di ba, oxygen stands as a diatomic molecule or
Yes.
atom. So which means kana siya nga reactant already has 2 oxygen atoms pa jud. So i-add na to ang duha, which is 2 oxygen from the 2CO plus another 2 oxygen atoms, so 4 oxygen sa reactants.
Mm-hmm.
Then ig-abot na to sa product, we have 2CO2. So 2 gihapon ka carbon, meaning ana niya ang sa oxygen sa pagkuha na niya is ang subscript ato ra siya i-times i-plus sa coefficient, so which means oxygen has 4 gihapon ka atoms sa product. So I
Okay.
think balance ang equation, sir.
Okay, very good. No? So this reaction is balanced. Okay, so take a look here. So 2 is distributed for C and O. So in the reactant, you have 2 moles of oxygen. No? And then this 2 is also distributed to this oxygen here. So you have 2 oxygen plus another 2 oxygen from the diatomic oxygen. So a total of 4. Okay, now on the product side, so you still have 2 carbons, and then these 2 here, if you will multiply it with this oxygen here, so 2 times 2, that would be 4. Okay, so therefore this is a balanced reaction. Okay, question? Clarification? Okay. Now, Okay, so this is a unbalanced reaction. So you have magnesium plus oxygen and then MgO. Okay, so to balance this, so you need to write 2 here and then 2 magnesium. Okay, so it's the reaction balance. So upon checking, you have 1 magnesium atom on the reactant side, and then for the oxygen, you have 2 oxygen atoms. But in the product side, you have unbalanced oxygen atom because in the product, you have 1 oxygen atoms. Okay, so to balance the reaction again, we need to write the coefficients next to the element of the compound, next to the element or compound formula. And to do this, I did show you specific guidelines in doing the balancing. It's trial and error, no? But see to it that when you are balancing, you do it in increasing manner, no? So you start at very low coefficient. For example, start ka sa 1, then kung dili pa siya mabalance sa 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you do it by in increasing manner. Okay, so this is the correct finding the correct coefficients again involves trial and error, but here are some helpful guidelines that would aid you, in doing or in writing balance equations. First, focus on one element at a time. No, so do not try to balance everything at a glance. So that's why katong ako technique ani class is that I write first all of the elements involved, for example, in the reactant and the product side. No, so for example, if my reactant and product side contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, so I write down first how many atoms are there per product side. No, so I usually do it like this. So on this side, the number of the atoms on the reactant side, and then on this part, the number of atoms on the product side. So let's say you have 2, 1, 3, 3, 2, 1, no? Something like that. Then, second, save those elements that appear as individual or unbonded atoms for last. No? So for example, si magnesium here, no? So kini siya ang imong uwahi, no? Iuwahi ni siya og balance. So a technique here, for example, you have Mg plus O2 MgO, no? For example. So we see here in the reactant nga nakay duha, you have 2 oxygen atoms, and then on the product side you only have 1 oxygen atom. So how would you balance it na so that both atoms, no, would have the same number of atoms? Okay, so you cannot add 1 here because that would just mean that you still have 1 oxygen, no? Then you do next increasing, no? So from 1 you change it to 2. Now by writing 2 here on as a coefficient for magnesium oxide, you can see now that the number of atoms on the product and the reactant side are equal. So you have 2 atoms on the reactant and then 2 oxygen atoms on the product side. Now, by changing the coefficient, you also changes the number of your magnesium ion this time, or your magnesium atom. No? So from, I write it like this. No, so originally you have, 1 magnesium, and then 2 oxygen, 1 oxygen. No? But then, by adding the coefficient 2, diba? So, nag-add ka og 2 na coefficient. So, 1 times 2, okay? Your number of magnesium atom now is 2. and then on the product side, and then oxygen is 2 as well. Now, ang dili nilang balance kay ang magnesium, no? So that's why on the second guideline, it says that save all those atoms that are unbonded, no, as last. Okay, kung katuwa, because if you will do it first, no, if you will balance them first, and then on the product side or in the reactant side, they are bonded to different atoms. So once you change that, change the coefficient of those compounds having the unbonded atom on one side, so you will just come in circles, no? So most likely this one should be balanced last. Okay, so now two magnesium atoms here, no? So how would you balance this equation? So you do it by writing the coefficient number 2, no? Or numerical coefficient 2. So this time you have now a balanced reaction. 2 Mg plus oxygen will yield 2 moles of magnesium oxide. And again, mato siya, once you have decided on a coefficient, do not decrease it. So you will just start going in circles. Okay? So you do it in increasing manner. So let's try this one. Balance the following equation. Aluminum oxide plus hydrochloric acid will yield aluminum chloride and water. So the elements found in our reactants and product side are aluminum, oxygen, and hydrogen. No? Okay, so on the products or on the reactant side, you have 2 moles of aluminum, and then on one side, on the reactant side, you only have 1 mole of aluminum. Okay, now your oxygen on the product side, on the reactant side rather, you have 3. On the product side, you have 1. Napaday chlorine day. Sorry, chlorine. Then on the hydrogen, for the reactant side, 1. Product side, 2. Chlorine, 1. 3. No? Okay. So how to do this? So again, ano siya ha? Trial and error lang yun ni siya. Yes, Kitch?
So since reactant side there is two aluminum, so dapat sa product side we also have to have 2 aluminum, so we add the coefficient 2.
Okay.
Therefore chlorine would also increase, so it will become 6 moles. Then since 6 moles naman ang chlorine sa product side, we also have to have 6 chlorine molecules sa reactant side, so we add 6 coefficients sa HCl. Then since nag-add man tag 6, so mas 6 pud ang hydrogen. So we add 3 to the H2O, 3 coefficient to the H2O. Therefore hydrogen is now 6 moles and oxygen is now 3, which is balanced pod sa product side. So.
Okay, very good. No, so that's how you do it. So you just pick first one atom, not try to balance it. Then if the process is going good, so you are definitely on the right track. So you can start also with trying to balance oxygen first, no? So if you try to balance oxygen first, so since here in the reactant you have 3, so in the product side 3 lang 1 lang siya, so you can add 3 here, no? So balance ang oxygen. And then what changes the number of hydrogen? So 3 times 2, di ba? Nahimo siyang 3 times 2 dahil siyang 6 hydrogen on the product side, no? Now, since you have 6 hydrogen here, you can do you can add 6 coefficient 6 here sa HCl para ma-balance ang hydrogen. And then by doing that, you can see now the number of fluorine also change from 6 to from 1 na mo siyang 6. And then on the product side, since you already have 3 chlorine, mag-add ka og coefficient 2 para may mo siyang 6, and that would also balance the number of your aluminum atom. And another clue, no, usually ato iuwahi, so ako gibuhat kay dili to sakto, pero ang practice na mo kay amo iuwahi ang balance si hydrogen and oxygen, no, labi na kung it appears on both sides of the reaction kay sila medyo libog man god, especially if odd numbers, and then odd numbers sa reactant, even numbers sa product side. Okay? And then take note, no, that all of the coefficients should be in the lowest term. So for example, if you have 2, 2, 4, 6, no, so you can still round it off into 1, 1, 2, 3, no? So see to it. But for this one, since you have 1, 6, 2, 3, so you don't have a common divisor for 2 and 3, so mao ni siya ang pinaka-final answer. So 1 mole of aluminum oxide plus 6 moles of hydrochloric acid will yield aluminum chloride, 2 moles of aluminum chloride, and 3 moles of water molecule. Okay? So indicating the states of matter in chemical equations is very important, no? So if you can still remember in our laboratory, diba, the chemical reactions are written indicating the states of matter. So when we write a chemical equation, there are no specific rules set, no, on which will come first. Okay? So for example here, sodium hydroxide plus hydrosulfuric acid. Okay, so you can write it differently. No, you can do it like this, or you can do it in like this. Okay, so no particular arrangement. However, you cannot move a chemical to the other side of the arrow, and we cannot change any coefficients kung balance na siya. And then take note that we also need to identify the states of matter in a given chemical equation. And we do that by writing the abbreviation, no? So these are also subscripts, okay? So S, open close parenthesis S, means that it's a solid. Open close parenthesis L, that is a liquid. Open close parenthesis G, that is gas. Open close parenthesis AQ, that is aqueous or dissolved in water. Okay, so in some cases, for example, we need to show the physical states of the reactants and products in a balance equation, particularly if we're doing mga double displacement reactions or redox, precipitation reactions, no? Okay, so that you can determine which will precipitate, which will remain soluble, diba? So for example, we produce the following balance equation for the reaction of aluminum oxide with HCl. No, so given here. But this is incomplete because we do not include, or we didn't indicate the what they call this, the states of matter, no, of your reactants and your products. So at room temperature, ang aluminum oxide is solid and water is liquid. No, so always na si H2O ang iyang subscript would be L. Okay? Then the HCl is normally supplied as an aqueous solution. So that means it's a hydrochloric acid, no, not hydrogen chloride. And the product AlCl3 dissolves in water as it forms. So meaning soluble siya. So therefore, it's aqueous. So the complete formula, therefore, or the complete equation will look like this, no? Aluminum oxide, solid, because at room temperature. Hydrochloric acid, most likely is an acid, so aqueous siya. And then aluminum chloride, soluble product, no, dissolves in water, so aqueous. And then 3 moles of hydrogen, 3 moles of water molecule. Okay, so for example, write a chemical equation that corresponds to the following statement. And be sure to include a symbol for the state of each substance. So 1 molecule of gaseous sulfur trioxide reacts with 1 formula unit of aqueous carbon hydroxide to form 1 formula unit of solid calcium sulfate and 1 molecule of liquid H2O. So how would you write the chemical equation for that? O, dili na mo gawas ang usahay kay dili na naka ano no. So dire nakabutang pa naka-indicate na ang chemical formula but dapat practice jud sa nomenclature kay what if chemical names na ang ibutang diha. Okay? You can type down on the chat box no for your answer. Okay, so very good, everyone. No, so that's how you write no the chemical equation based on the word statement. So one molecule of SO3 and then gaseosia, so G plus one formula unit, no? So take note no formula unit we use formula unit because calcium hydroxide is not a molecule but rather an ionic compound. Okay? So the term formula unit refers to uh, ionic compounds, whereas molecule is used for inorganic covalent compounds. Calcium hydroxide to aqueous yields or to form one solid copper sulfate plus H2O liquid. Okay, so that is for the chemical equations. No? So why did I introduce first the chemical equations, balancing chemical equations? Because we need it for this following types of chemical reactions. So in general, um, there are four basic types of chemical reactions. Okay, but when you go to organic and, for example, in biochemistry, you will encounter different or 100 types na of chemical reactions. No, but generally they fall no on these four categories of basic types of chemical reactions. So each of the basic chemical types of reactions will have subcategories no on which that specific organic reactions perhaps or biochemical reaction falls under. So the four basic types of chemical reactions are the synthesis reactions, the composition reactions, single displacement reactions, and the double displacement reactions. So when you say synthesis reactions, so you have two or more simple substances, either a compound or elements, that will form one new and more complex uh, substance. So the theoretical chemical equation for a synthesis reaction is given by this formula. So you have A plus X, it could be a compound, it could be an element, not to form one complex substance. So here are some general types of synthesis reactions. So first one, the combination of elements. So your reactants here are all elements, no? So example, we have iron, solid iron reacts with liquid sulfur to form the solid compound iron 2 sulfide, no? Iron 2 sulfide. Now, you also have sodium, solid sodium reacts with gaseous chlorine to form 2 moles of sodium chloride. So that's the first type of synthesis reaction. So you combine your reactants, so your two reactants combine to form a single product. That's a synthesis reaction. Number two, combination of an acid anhydride with water to give an acid. So acid anhydride are usually oxygen plus a non-metal. So for example, we have sulfur dioxide plus H2O. You will form sulfurous acid, H2SO3. And then you have dinitrogen trioxide with water, reacts with water to form 2 moles of nitrous oxide. So two different compounds yield one product. Okay? So combination of a basic anhydride or metallic oxide with water to form a base. So this time, if you have a metal plus oxygen, so you will form you will form a base, no? So, yes, Chrisley?
Excuse me sir, kanang nakay basihan nga kuan sir PPT. Wala
Ay,
man gyud nakita
wala na.
imong screen sir.
Ay, sorry. Okay. Okay na? Ano ba?
Okay na
sorry.
sir, thank you sir.
Kailangan to. Sige, balik ta dire. Okay? So, again, for synthesis reaction, you have two or more simple substances, either a compound or an element, to form one new complex substance. Okay? So, technically, the reaction is A plus X, where A and X could be a compound or an element to form a single product. Okay? And here are the basic or the general types for synthesis reactions. So first, it's just merely a combination of elements. So we have here iron, solid iron, plus a liquid sulfur to yield iron 2 sulfide. No? Then you can also have 2 moles of solid sodium or metal sodium plus chlorine gas, Cl2, to yield 2 moles of sodium chloride. So this could be a liquid, this could be solid or aqueous. But since you don't have water here, so more likely this will be a solid product. Now, if you have you have non-metal plus oxygen, then you react it with the water. Usually, you will end up with an acid. No, so we have here sulfur dioxide plus water. It will form sulfurous acid. Whereas if you have nitrogen, dinitrogen trioxide, and water, you will end up with 2 moles of nitrous acid. Then combination of basic anhydride or those that contains metal plus oxygen, we call it metallic oxide. And if they react with water, they will form a base. No, so you have sodium oxide plus water to form sodium hydroxide. You have calcium oxide plus water to form calcium hydroxide. So still two reactants form one type of product only. And combination of a metal of a basic oxide with a non-metal of an acidic oxide to form a salt. Okay, so metal, this one is a basic oxide, no? So the metal of this Dow would form a product with the non-metal of the acidic oxide to form a salt. So for example, carbon dioxide gas plus sodium oxide will yield sodium carbonate. So sodium carbonate is a salt. So technically, ang salt class is ionic compound still. So you have metal plus non-metal. No, for example, NaCl, di ba? NaCl is an ionic compound and it is also a salt. Then we have also diphosphorus pentoxide plus 3 moles of barium oxide to yield barium phosphate, which is still a salt. So these are synthesis reactions. So 2 reactants form, and then you will end up with one product, no? A complex product. It could be simple or it could be a complex product. Okay. So whenever you see this type of reaction in which there is just a combination that occurs, so sometimes ang synthesis reaction is also called combination reaction or addition reactions. So 2 reactants form one single product. So definitely that would be a synthesis reaction. So don't worry too much about predicting products because it will be really difficult to predict a product using via synthesis reaction. No, so most likely for this type of questions, I will just ask what type of reaction takes place. Is it a synthesis, decomposition, single displacement, or double displacement? We will do predicting of products when we go to single displacement and double displacement. And Some may be from decomposition reactions. But for synthesis reaction, it would be really difficult, no, because you don't have a pattern to, although we do have here the basic types, but it's still difficult. No, for example, carbon dioxide and sodium oxide. So predicting to form barium sodium carbonate would be difficult. Although you do know na carbonate is an ion, and then sodium would be a cation. No? Okay, so that's for synthesis reactions. Next, we have the composition reaction. So technically, the composition reaction is just the opposite of the synthesis reaction. Okay, so when energy in the form of heat, electricity, light, or mechanical shock is supplied to your compound, okay, it will cause it to decompose to form simpler compounds or to its constituent elements. So the general form for this type of reaction is given here. You have AX, then you can have here subject it to heat, bakaha, electricity, light, or mechanical shock. Then it will decompose into its simpler compound A or element A or compound X or element X. And usually class, if particularly if you will see this type of chemical reaction, no? Okay, so the triangle above your arrow signifies that your compound is heated. Okay, so whenever you see a triangle there on above your arrow, it means that heat was also part of your reactions. Okay, so please take note of that. So here are some general types of decomposition reactions. So if some acids are heated, they are decomposed to form water and an acidic oxide. So for example, you have sulfurous acid. It will, once you hit it, no, so wala lang ko gipakita dire, but supposedly it have a triangle symbol there. So if you hit that substance, you will form SO2, sulfur dioxide, and H2O. So if we go back to the synthesis, so this is just definitely the opposite, no? Ini siya, di ba? So technically opposite lang siya, but we cannot say na reversible ang reaction because different ang procedure to form H2SO3 into SO2 plus H2O. You need to have the presence of heat, no, to convert sulfurous acid into its the reactant coming from the synthesis reaction. Then you also have carbonic acid, H2CO3, to form carbon dioxide and H2O. So kung mag-form kag H2O, di ba? H2O. So ang kining SO3 nimo, maibanan siya og usa ka oxygen, no? Because one oxygen is will go to the water, no? So that's why it becomes SO2. Then for H2CO3, carbonic acid, since you produce H2O, no? So CO3, it will be reduced into CO2. When some metallic hydroxides, particularly mga solids, are heated, they will decompose to form a metallic oxide and water. Okay, so for example, we have calcium hydroxide. When you heat it, you will form calcium oxide plus water. Then if you heat ferric hydroxide, FeOH3, or iron 3 hydroxide, you will form ferric yapon, ferric oxide plus H2O. Then some metallic carbonates decompose to form metallic oxides and carbon dioxide when heated. So kini siya medyo simple na lang, no, kay you will if you have carbonate, metallic carbonate, so one of the product would be carbon dioxide, and then you just need to write the corresponding metallic oxide, that will be formed. So here we have lithium carbonate. So the corresponding metallic oxide form will be lithium oxide and then carbon dioxide. Then if you have calcium carbonate, so the corresponding metallic oxide would be calcium oxide and then carbon dioxide. Then when metallic chlorates decompose, they will form metallic chlorides and oxygen upon heating. Okay, so most of the decomposition reaction that we have seen always involve heating. No, so for example, we have potassium chlorate. When you heat it, it will form metallic chlorides. No, so metallic chloride is potassium chloride and then oxygen. A very straightforward na ang reaction. No, so and then nickel 2 chlorate. Once it decomposes, it will form nickel chloride plus 3 moles of oxygen. No, so initial 3 and 4 very straightforward. However, si 1 and 2, 1 you can it could be easy, no, or sometimes it could be complicated depending on the given reaction. But for synthesis reaction talaga, it's kind of difficult, no, to predict even if you have the general types, no, even if mag-base ka sa general types. But for decomposition reaction, the rules here are very straightforward. And then lastly, so those first 4 types of decomposition reactions involve heating, and then this 5th one is due to the decomposition with electricity or electrolysis. So when you hear the word lysis, so it means that you are breaking down. No, you are cutting down a molecule, either big molecule into a smaller molecule. So for example, we have water. So if you will run water by electrolysis, no, if you will subject it to electrolysis, so your water molecule will break down to its constituent atoms, which is the hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. Similarly, if you subject a molten, take note, molten ha, dili aqueous. So when you say molten, ang pure sodium chloride, ang salt ng sodium chloride, gipalanay nimo. No, you melted it. So molten sodium chloride, when you electrolyze it, you will form sodium liquid and chlorine gas. So although electrolysis is a great way to generate this gas, no, for example, hydrogen, which can be used as an alternative fuel. However, since it uses electricity, so the process itself would be kind of difficult. No, it would be it is pricey. It would be too expensive to produce hydrogen gas coming from electrolysis. Okay, so those are for decomposition reactions. Now we have here displacement reactions. So we have 2 types. We have single displacement and double displacement reactions. So when you say single displacement, one metallic element, take note, displaces another metallic element in a compound, or a non-metallic element, which is usually halogens, displaces another non-metallic element in a compound. So a single displacement has the general form. This is for metals, no? Replacing metals. So A plus BX, you will form AX plus B. So the metal A would displace metal B to form a new compound AX. Then B will be found on its metallic state or elemental state. Whereas here in the second part, we have X plus BY, wherein X is your non-metallic halogen, no? And then Y is that the non-metal bonded to this metal. So if a single displacement has occurred, so X could displace Y to form BX and then Y. Now in predicting single displacement, that's why I said earlier that predicting products in single displacement and double displacement is much easier compared to synthesis and less like somewhat si ano po si what do you call this? The decomposition. Now, because we have a specific guidelines for single displacement and double displacement. So for single displacement, we can predict the product based on the reactivity series. Okay? So, di ba, duha to ka paper ako gihatag ninyo, class, way back before pa, mga last 3 weeks ago. Di ba? One is the list of cation, and second paper is for the reactivity series. So that reactivity series is very helpful in predicting single displacement. Okay, so what is found in the reactivity series? So you can find which metal would be most reactive and less reactive. No, so this is not a complete list of metals, but here this can be used with a mnemonic. So that's why I include it here. I don't remember na ang sa ko gihatag din yung reactivity series, but I think na po siya ay halogen, no? So how do you use the reactivity series, no? So you would know if a metal is able to displace another metal if that standalone metal, no, katong lone metal is found above the metal that is bonded to an ion. So for example, let's say we have the reaction between iron, solid iron, and copper nitrate. Okay? So see, iron, based on the position sa reactivity series, it is on top of your copper. So meaning, mas reactive si iron kaysa kay copper, and therefore, when you react them, your copper is able to kick out, no? Si copper. Matangtang niya si copper, ma-displace niya si copper, therefore, you will form the iron 2 nitrate, and then your copper will solidify, no? Or it will precipitate out of the solution as solid copper. In a similar manner, if you have sodium, for example, no? So this is displacement with water. So we have a rule when we deal with water. So later I will explain it. So here we have sodium. So sodium is above the reactivity series, whereas the hydrogen is way below it. So meaning your sodium is able to kick out hydrogen atom, no? It can kick out hydrogen atom to form a bond with your oxygen, no? So you will form sodium hydroxide, no, as the displaced product, and your hydrogen will be liberated as a gas or H2 gas. Okay, and then another one. This is another extended. This is an extended activity series reference chart, no, showing you kini siya kay photo version ni potassium, but above potassium you also have rubidium and say lithium. Okay, so the rule here is that metals from lithium, this is for take note for acids that contains hydrogen and water. So metals from lithium to sodium are able to replace hydrogen in both acids and water. Whereas ang katong metals from magnesium, where's magnesium? Kini magnesium to lead, okay, are only able to displace hydrogen from acids. So kung react na siya nimo og magnesium og magnesium and this magnesium, no, magnesium to water, so there will be no reaction that will occur. Kay kini sila lithium, sodium, rubidium, potassium, mga alkali metal, they are very reactive. No, they react violently with water. So that's why they are able to displace hydrogen from water, and then also they could also displace water from acids. And then this is the reactivity series for halogens, no? So si fluorine are very reactive because it is the most electronegative atom, okay? Followed by chlorine, bromine, and iodine.